Should I feel better or worse that nobody, not even me, until this moment, noticed I'd spelled Celestia wrong in the document?
Oh my.
Oh my god. I didn't know.
Celiatea.
Celestia.
That's a cool name.
Oh, I like
That's
that.
admittedly a
Celiatia.
cool name.
That's a spelling error on par with the fact that for the first 7 years my channel existed, I didn't know I'd misspelled my own name in the description. I'd called myself Skibbler for years.
Oh. Skibbity doo.
Skibbler.
Yeah, it was Xena who pointed it out in the end. She was like, "Did you know you've spelled your own name wrong? Fuck. Did you know it's been spelled wrong for 7 years and you're telling me this now?" Hello and welcome to Them's Writin Words, a podcast discussing selected fanfictions from the world of pastel horse literature. My name is Scribbler, and I will be your moderator today. Joining me for this discussion, we have Clever Hooves.
Hello.
Illya Leonov.
Hello, everyone.
Midnight 29.
Hello.
Nomad Flicker.
Heya.
And Vladdy Voices, who if she says penis, I'm going to hurt.
If I can't say something nice, then don't say nothing at all.
Oh, she's adorable.
And I had to think that if she was wondering whether or not she wanted the pain or not, there was that
Like, how much
pause
do
that made
I
me
want to
wonder-
say penis?
Yeah.
I honestly wasn't tempted until you said that. I was like, okay, I'm just going to be normal. It's like, if you dare say penis, I'm like, I want to say penis.
Exactly.
Now I got to say it twice. Ah!
For those listening in, whenever I do a voice test and we check the recording, Vladdy always yells penis.
Happiness.
So at this point, the video has been demonetized. Let's keep going. So today we're looking at the fanfic Evil is Easy, Governing is Harder by Aragon, as chosen by Illya Leonov. The synopsis reads, Illya?
One day, just like that, Celestia decides she's going to go mad with power.
The story was published on 20th of March 2017 and clocks in at 17,653 words. Okay, so for the uninitiated, for the first part of this podcast, we always do a spoiler-free bit of a discussion, usually of the tags and the summary of the story from Illya, and then we'll signal the spoilers. If you would like to read it yourself, you may go and read it on Aragon's fanfiction page, but Illya put together a pretty fantastic fic reading version, so if you'd like to go to his channel and listen to that before we get into the spoiler section, by all means do so. But first of all, tags. Do we believe they're accurate? The only tags are comedy and adventure. Illya, thoughts?
Yeah, it's such a comedy that's a strong tag for it. It almost overpowers the adventure, although it's an adventure as well. But I don't think anything else is needed.
Clever?
I started reading this and thought maybe crackfic. And then at the end, I felt like crackfic was no longer appropriate. But now, as I reflect upon it, I still question whether or not crackfic is an appropriate tag or not. So I don't know how other people feel, but if there was a tag to potentially add, it might be that. Maybe.
I just love the fact that you said crack fit just then, which just made me think that, like, it's a form of fitness.
I misspoke.
But it was a beautiful blooper. Crack fit, the newest form of exercise.
Forget about what's that other one? CrossFit. We've got now crackfit. You do a rock a day and you don't want to eat forever. So and you have endless energy.
Alternatively, crack fit is also when you want to get your jeans on and the top of your butt just won't go in.
Oy, yes. And some people like a crack fit a certain way.
Well, I am not sure how much of a crossover there is in my audience between people who like ponies and people who like that, but we'll move swiftly onwards. This isn't getting monetized anyway, because, like, YouTube will have listened to all the penis talk at the start, so we may as well talk about, like, fuck off pony OnlyFans or something. Right, okay. Midnight, you get to inherit this bit of the conversation now. Do you think that comedy and adventure are accurate tags? Come on, let's wrestle this back onto the topic it's meant to be.
Well, I don't think I can really top that. I thought the tags work, so yes, that they are good. They cut to the chase.
But what about crackfic?
I'll be honest, my brain right now is blanking on that.
Oh, okay.
It's been
What's a
overshadowed by
crackfic for
crackfit.
everyone who's listening?
Crackfic is it's a subgenre of comedy that means something that is so off the wall that it is.
You
Oh, there
think
is a
that
word
the
for it.
author was on crack when they wrote it, I think is kind of the implication, that it's just so out there.
The closest non-fanfic related comedy of this styling I can think of is probably Monty Python.
Yeah.
Absurdist. That's it. Absurdist humor.
Absurdist, yes.
I think you could maybe
And now
put
for
it
something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Then suddenly the animator had a heart attack.
Oh god.
There was a moose.
Right.
My sister was bit by a moose once.
Okay, the conversation has come to a screeching halt. That needs context. What?
You don't remember that line from the
That's
beginning
the
of
opening of Monty
the Holy
Python.
Grail?
Holy Grail.
Come on.
Okay, no, I don't, because as much
It's
as
all
I
part of
grew
the
up in
credits.
Britain, I didn't
And
grow
then the
up with Monty
narrator,
Python.
the narrator was fired.
I was the generation after Monty Python. I was the Blackadder generation.
Well,
Oh,
I,
let's go, Blackadder.
I would
Blackadder.
me and me droogs got brought up on British, film and culture based on Monty Python. I think that was like what there was here in Canada at the time. Blackadder didn't show up until Mr. Bean got popular, which was probably a decade after it appeared in BBC.
Now I need to go and watch more Blackadder.
If you want it, I have every season, so just hit me up.
On that note, Nomad, what are your thoughts on comedy and adventure tags? I'm gonna keep this on track if it fucking kills me.
Good luck with
Definitely
that.
accurate, yeah. Maybe crackfit, but I don't know. It has a logic, so technically, I'm not sure the cleverest tag is adapted.
I'm
but
not
the two
sure
others
either.
I would
definitely.
agree. I would agree. I think that the absurdism of crackfic, it would seem to fit up until the ending. Like I said, we're spoiler free.
Yes, and that's what I wanted to bring up later.
Okay, spoilers for later. Vladdy, what do you think?
I think the comedy and adventure fits perfectly. Crackfic wise, I could see that when compared to the show, but if the story felt like it would fit perfectly with the comics, it has that same kind of chaotic energy and fit right in. I really liked it. Very fun.
I would say it's character-driven comedy more than anything, because a lot of the humor is in the dialogue or just in the characters themselves. Like, and this is not a true spoiler, because the rest of you are not going to give any context for this, Luna holding up the baby Minotaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredibly funny.
And that's purely rooted in her characterization in this story.
I've got the child.
So beautiful.
I'm in agony.
Ha 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 ha.
I love
Scribbler's
that.
performance was amazing.
Yes.
It was indeed.
There were absolutely moments where I was like, that is Luna speaking to me.
The funniest thing is that I don't remember recording half of that shit, and I'm like, who the fuck was directing me? Because this is really good, and I don't direct myself this well.
Ha 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 ha. The fun is doubled.
It was the line of ha 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 ha, I'm in agony. Just
It
lives
was
in my
so
head.
good.
Right, we're still not giving any context for anybody listening. You need to go and listen to Ilya's reading of this.
You do. You really
Speaking
do.
of,
Brilliant.
Ilya's now going to give us a spoiler-free description of the story, and we're going to give our overall opinions of the story without going into any spoilers. So, Illya, take it away.
What happens is that the story begins with Luna and Celestia in the throne room discussing politics and things that have happened since Luna was gone and came back. And then suddenly, for reasons that will be obvious later, Celestia turns to Luna and says, "Do you suppose we should become despots?" And Luna says, "I think so." Something like that, anyway. And
Wait.
so then suddenly the whole castle is cloaked in darkness and everything changes into a really dark theme. And Daring Do shows up, confronts Celestia, and they find out that, excuse me, they find out that Daring Do's companion, Sugar Song, has been held captive. And so they go down into the dungeons. Luna is immobilized by Daring Do, and then they go down and rescue Sugar Song, and they have a very long adventure in the tunnels beneath the castle. And that's pretty much all I can go into, I think, at this point.
Okay, so Illya, what's your opinion of this story in a spoiler-free manner?
Good Lord, I loved it. I mean, I've always liked Aragon anyway, and I don't do many comedies, but I do some when I find one that really works. It's just, there's something about the way he writes that works with my voice, and that's often why I choose stories. But I loved it. And I will say that, as I've told all of you, that this is probably my favorite recording that I put on the internet. And part of that is because I just like the story so darn much. So I'm crazy about it.
And Vladdy, what do you think of this story?
Like I said, I really liked it. It feels very much like how the official comics do, like some of their fun little adventures. So, yeah, if you like the comics, you'd definitely love this.
Nomad, what do you think?
I'm not a super big comedy person. I'm a horror person, honestly. So listen to this. The recording is absolutely brilliant. I thought that some parts were a little long, but I think it's just me. But overall, it's a good story. It's just listen to it, appreciated it. I don't love it, but I like it.
Midnight?
So I think I'm the only one here who wasn't able to listen to it at the time, and so I read it. And I'm dyslexic, and so I have to read things about maybe 2-3 times to fully get it in my head. I'm pretty sure I read this about 7 to 10 times, because I was going, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? So yeah, I loved it. I think it's awesome.
What the fuck? I loved it.
I loved it. What the fuck?
It's not something I'd normally read, but I was just going, I think visual, just looking at my face going, okay, does she love it or hate it? I can't tell.
And Clever?
So, this is the spoiler-free part. I mean, I like comedy, and I chuckled a lot listening to, because this is one I didn't actually read. I listened to it, and that's probably the first fic that I've been on them's Writin Words where I actually haven't read it. I've just listened to it. And fantastic, by the way. Everyone involved did a fantastic job. I found myself chuckling along. I found that the suspense, so for me in comedy, there's, like, obviously we're in a magic world with pastel ponies and what have you. And if you want to be absurdist, and there's a certain suspension of disbelief automatically that comes when you're being absurd. And in this fic, it starts off like, oh, you know, it feels like an absurdist kind of crack fic kind of setup, in that, like, there doesn't seem to be any logical reason for people doing what they're doing. And yet at the end, all of a sudden, there's all this logic that's provided. And it seems to kind of undo that. And while it doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the scenes that are funny, because the humor doesn't rely on that, it does make my brain stop. And then it's like, well, now that you've provided logic, I'm now stuck on all the logical problems with the story, of which there are a few. But, you know, if you hadn't have brought logic into it, I wouldn't have even bothered. My brain wouldn't have gone there. So I find the fic funny and definitely worth a read. And there's some great moments in it. But I found at the end that it bothered me that they actually gave me a logic for a rationale for the behavior. Because then it's like, well, if you're going to do that, you got to go all the way. And I think there were some missed opportunities as a result. So I find myself feeling held back from giving it my wholehearted, this was the most amazing thing that I've read, but it's still worth reading, and I still think it's funny. And I definitely give the full cast performance was chef's kiss. It was lovely. You have to go listen to it.
Okay. I liked it for the most part. There's one bit of it that I was not keen on, but we're going to get into spoilers if I say that. And it's one bit that, like, it doesn't spoil the entire rest of the story for me, but it did kind of play on my mind afterwards as I didn't like that. That was unresolved. Okay, so, Illya, do you want to... Sorry, I was distracted by the fact that Milo, my cat, is laying on the chair next to me and is snoring really loudly.
Snoring kitty.
He's so comfortable. But it was slightly distracting because I'm just like, oh my god, no, but cute! Right, Illya, full plot summary. We're going into spoiler territory now, people, so speak now or I'll forever hold your peace. Illya?
As I mentioned earlier, Luna and Celestia are in the throne room, and they're talking about things, and the subjects of which we will discuss later. What are cows comes up in the discussion, which is foreshadowing. And then, as I said, Daring Do came in. There was a little bit of a tussle. Daring Do stabs Luna with T-Rex horn, which immobilizes her. Then he ties her up in a way that's very suggestive and creates a lot of comedy later on. They go down and pull Sugar Song out of the dungeon where she's being held captive, trade a bunch of quips. There are a lot of quips and punchlines in this story, and they trade a lot of them there. And then they go off looking, with Luna as the captive. They're going off, Sugar Song and Daring Do, looking for the tyrant Queen Celestia so they can defeat her. And they wander endlessly in the tunnels of the I guess dungeons or sewers or whatever it is they're in down there. And the turns are always left. There's no right turns. This drives Daring Do nuts. And they do run into Celestia, but they can't do anything because there's an invisible wall between them, which Daring Do runs into with her nose and creates a lot of comedy. And then so they wander around a bit more, and Minotaurs show up, and all sorts of humor and things ensue because they're so big and strong, and Daring Do and the Minotaur King are sparring, and the Minotaur King says some really ridiculous things and everything. And then later on, they wind up in a place where there's a room full of cows, and we find out through various means and a little bit of intuition on Daring Do and Sugar Song's part that the cows have planted gunpowder under the throne room and intend to blow it up. But that's plot is foiled, and during the scuffle, there's a stampede of cows, a lot of action, a lot of things where action happens, and most of it's funny action, and then my brain stopped, and I started going into the other room in my head. So then Celestia shows up again and points out the fact that she's figured out that her chamomile tea, which tasted terrible when she was drinking it in the throne room with Luna, is the reason she became a despot. Her tea tasted, and she knew someone was trying to poison her. Her tea tasted terrible because the cows had poisoned the milk that was put into the tea. And so Celestia confronts them, and the cows cower in fear and run off. And when they find out that Celestia was drinking the tea and then pouring on the ground and it burned through a hole in the floor because it's that powerful, then they realize, uh-oh, she's a lot more of a badass than we thought. The cows run. There's a lot of chasing in the... That's afterwards, though. There's a lot of chasing in the tunnels when the Minotaurs go crazy. There's a lot of things about it that I really don't even remember about the Minotaurs and the sewers and things that Celestia was trying to accomplish by having the Minotaurs down there blowing up the sewer. But during the scuffle with the cows, Luna accidentally ignites gunpowder with her magic and gets kind of blown sideways into the wall and knocked unconscious. And then when she comes back to consciousness, she's very loopy, which is excellently portrayed by Scribbler in the fic reading. You really should listen to that. She's great. And so suddenly Daring Do understands what's been going on, and that Celestia was just trying to uncover the plot to kill her, and the cows were responsible, and that's all it was. Celestia actually did not go mad with power. She was just sort of pretending. And then Luna confronts the cows and defeats the cows as they were trying to escape the mountain. And then Daring Do has a long talk with Celestia, which is kind of weird at the end of the story. And that's kind of the end of it. It's a lot better than it sounds with my description. It's very funny. Most of I think of the story relies on the dialogue, as it may have been stated before. It's just wonderful. It's funny, and I think that's the summary there.
Thank you very much for that thorough rendition. So first off, we're going to discuss the impressions of the prose style. How does this story read? Is it trying to achieve any particular tone? And in your opinion, how well does it achieve this? So, Illya, since it is your story and you are the fic picker, what do you think? Well,
I'm trying not to sound too gushy here, but the prose style is comedy. I mean, it's a lot of quick wit, one-liners, action thrown into dialogue and dialogue thrown into action. I think it just works wonderfully well. That's me.
And Vladdy?
My brain died.
Admittedly, at first, I found it to be a bit slow for my liking, but then it starts picking up the pace. It kind of has like a snowball effect sort of thing. I guess, I don't know any fancy terms to explain it, so that's just the best I could explain that. Normally, I would have dropped a story like this, because a big wall of text like that can be intimidating and stuff, but having the audio to listen to and the drive to read it was got me through it, and it was worth it. It was worth getting through the slower bit, and I really enjoyed that. And the comedy, it hit well. It was all very charming and nice, and again, sounds, if the comedy all feels like it would fit perfectly in the comic universe. And yeah, very good.
Nomad, what do you think?
This fic is definitely a comedy. It cannot be anything else. The timing sorry, of the dialogue is pretty much doing everything. Like, this whole thing really plays well with audio, I think, mostly because, dialogue is written well. The characters fighting with the narrator, like, purposefully, I just remember Daring Do going, nope, and stopping the narration, like, no, move away, I'm doing the thing, so you're not screwing this up for me. I kind of like that. So yeah, definitely a comedy.
Okay. Midnight?
I would actually agree with Vladdy. It's a snowball effect. Like, I find myself rereading over and over, but I also find myself speeding up with everything that was happening, because my brain was like, what? Yeah, it's a comedy. I do think it probably does better, although I didn't listen to the reading. I would say, from especially your guys' responses, it works very well as an audiobook. So, yeah, I like it. It did good.
And Clever?
I liked the prose. I felt that they were easy to read. I rather like the style in that I felt that there was some good usage of repetition. There was repetition at the whole idea that, this horseshoe idea that opposites at their extremes tend to actually resemble each other. That comes up quite a bit. And even the reusing of the teacup as the one-liner that Celestia fumbles all the time until she doesn't. And I think that's used very effectively. So there's some literary usage in here that's actually I think very effective, and I think that adds to the experience of it, and that idea that it's foreshadowing without necessarily foreshadowing. Or maybe it is foreshadowing. I don't know. Maybe I'm using the wrong word, but by doing this repetition, you don't realize the first time you hear it that it's necessarily a foreshadow, but then you hear it again, and then you hear it again, and you start realizing, aha, maybe this will come up again later, or when it does, it actually may be surprising. So I think that the style and the prose are actually quite good in it. My only issues with the fic have to deal with some of the logic and plot holes as a result. That's my only issue with it. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that, I think.
May I ask something?
Yeah, go on.
This is for my own edification. There's some references being made to the comic book world of My Little Pony. I know nothing about it. I've never read any of them. How does that universe play out? How is it different?
Vladi, do you want to take this one since you brought that up?
Oh god, and I'm not that experienced with the comics. I just know a couple things, but
Couple more than the rest of us know.
I guess so. How the fuck do I describe this? I think it's like a little. It tries. It's not as worried about keeping like show canon and stuff, and also because it breaks canon a lot, and because like different things come up that like in the comics before like the main series, such as Daring Do originally was a character written by Twilight's mom, like she was the author of the books and according to the comics, but then we see in canon, no, Daring Do is a real pony writing her own stories. So yeah, they just kind of just do their own thing without like worrying too much, and well, the comedy fits a lot more with how this story reads rather than how like the show canon tries to do comedy, which honestly I really enjoy the comedy a lot more, even though I like the show story and everything. Sorry, am I rambling?
No, I might have to pick one of those comics up and look at it. I've never done that.
Yeah, sometimes it's just silly nonsense, but sometimes it's fun high adventures.
Didn't Chrysalis kill a cat in that?
I was not aware of this.
I'm pretty sure in the very first comic run, which is the only one of the comics I have, because I remember this panel being everywhere, Chrysalis kills a kitten.
What the fuck?
Let me find this. I swear this is real.
That's weird.
Like, she feeds on cute critters, but I didn't see her, like, killing anyone.
I mean, you know you're evil when.
Kill a kitten, yeah.
No, she did.
Oh my god.
Here it is.
I don't love her as much anymore.
There it is.
Well, it's okay. It's just a comic chrysalis you gotta hate.
There we are. She killed a kitten.
Do you know why?
She was teaching them that she's truly evil and that they weren't going to be rescued like it was some fairy tale because she was a lot more dangerous than a fairy tale villain. I swear that was from the very first comic book run.
That would do it.
Kids read this stuff. Good God.
It was when it was IDW. I think that they're with a different comic publisher now. But I do remember that because that was from the very first run and it made me pick up the comics to think, okay. And then it turned out it was mostly humor and it just wasn't the kind of thing I was into.
Yeah, so there's a good example. They don't hold back punches like the show does. So there you go.
Yeah, because I've just found this as well.
Do I want to look?
Yeah. Twilight breaks Chrysalis's back, I think.
Oh my.
But refuses to kill her. She went full fucking Bane on her.
That's fucked up.
Did you
And
post
so
that?
I shall
or-
make you.
It's in the.
I can't do a Twilight voice.
What was it you wanted to say?
Like, I think one of Bane's lines is like, and so I shall break you, but I can't do a Twilight voice. Scribbler,
And
please.
so I will break you. Yes.
There we go.
Thank
We've
you,
had a
Scribbler.
slight deviation into Chrysalis killing a cat.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
canon as well. Comic canon, but you know.
The Mirror World one is a really good one where like it talks about like other mirror worlds that aren't with equestrian girl humans and like just cool different stuff like a world where Celestia and Luna are actually evil and stuff.
And Sombra's good, and the only reason I know
Yeah.
that is because it gave rise to an MLP audio drama that I watched with narrator. Because sometimes on date nights we just watch MLP audio dramas, and I cannot remember what it was called. I know the original version was Welcome Princess Lightbreeze, and then it got redone as something else. I cannot remember its name, but it was really good. Link in the doobly-doo.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, did that help, Illya?
Oh, quite a bit. Yes, thank you very much.
So, characterization. Also, should I feel better or worse that nobody, not even me, until this moment, noticed I'd spelled Celestia wrong in the document?
Oh my.
Oh my god. I didn't know.
Celiatea.
Celestia.
Celestia.
That's a cool name.
Oh, I like
That's
that.
admittedly a
Celiatia.
cool name.
But then,
Middle-
yeah, that's a
that's a
spelling
middle
error. That's a spelling error on par with the fact that for the first 7 years my channel existed, I didn't know I'd misspelled my own name in the description. I'd called
Oh.
myself Skibbler for years.
Oh,
Hey,
skibbity doo.
Skibber.
It was Xena who pointed it out in the end. She was like, "Did you know you've spelled your own name wrong? Fuck. Did you know it's been spelled wrong for 7 years and you're telling me this now?"
You gotta wonder how many people out there are like, is it Scribbler or Skibbler? I don't know.
But yes, Celestia, Luna, and Daring Do, the canon characters. And I'm going to add in the question afterwards. Is Sugar Song a canon character?
Mm.
Good
Because
question.
she's just kind of written like she's always been there. And
That's
all
what
the
I
jokes
thought
are
too, and I
predicated
never
on the
heard
fact
of
that
her.
she's just known. And it was just a case of, is this just from an episode I've forgotten about? Is she mentioned in a book somewhere? Or is she completely made up? I didn't know. So we're adding this together, the canon characters and the fact is Sugar Song canon.
I
Have a
can
look.
only find something about Sugar Bell, no Sugar Song
Yeah.
whatsoever.
So Sugar Song, not a canon character, but we can still talk about her characterization because she fits really fucking well. Okay, so characterization. And you know what? Clever, you're going to go first because I keep leaving you till last.
Oh, okay.
Ha 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 ha! You cannot
Ha.
trust me.
Ha ha ha! The fun.
I am in agony.
So the characterization is interesting because initially it feels off for Celestia to just basically spontaneous be like, yes, let's be evil. Yeah, let's just do it. And then later we're given sort of some rationale, and the comedy kind of arises because of just how bad she is at being evil. Luna keeps trying to give her, tips, and she gets whacked with a rolled up newspaper, and I don't know, like it's weird that way. So it's I mean, in the end, you feel like this could definitely be Celestia. But I don't know. I still I have a hard time imagining Celestia even like chaining up Sugar Song, the way that she was, even if she was. I have a hard time with that, believing that she would do that. So, and this goes into my whole, are we? How much suspension of disbelief do I give with this? And in a comedy, you normally give a lot of deference to people being inconsistent, especially if it creates comedic moments, which this does. So I don't know how valid my musings are about that. Luna feels a bit more honest throughout, and it's perhaps because her character isn't trying to deceive anybody. She's just following her sister. And while I love the idea that she would never betray her sister, and if her sister decided to go evil, she's on board. I feel like in the show that we have a lot more morality out of Luna, and just that whole episode with the Tantabus, where she's kind of torturing herself over the things that she's done, and her whole redemption. For her to just kind of be like, my only moral code is to my sister. So I feel like that's why I brought up the whole idea of is this a crack fic? Because in a crack fic, I would say it's Luna enough. It's Luna enough, and these other inconsistencies can I can just ignore them because it's all about the comedy. And I think that actually one of the most sinister moments in the whole fic is when she says that she's quite happy to let Equestria burn, if that's what she just cares about her sister. And when we find out at the end that this was all a ruse on Celestia's behalf, but that Luna was unaware that it was a ruse, now we're sort of left with this uncomfortable feeling that's actually who Luna is, that this wasn't just part of her putting on an evil persona. And that feels inconsistent. So as for Daring Do, she really just feels like Rainbow Dash with a whip and a hat. That's how it comes off for me. And it's not that that's necessarily bad, because I think, the comparison has clearly been drawn between them before, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah,
but
same boys.
But she doesn't. I don't know. Like I don't think there's enough in the show for me to say that it doesn't feel like her or it does feel like her. I mean, I think that in the show she's a bit smarter than how she comes off here. I feel like here, like the brains of the operation is Sugar Song, and that it comes off kind of like she's more the the heavy, the tough. She's the one that will move at incredible speed and do all the physicality, whereas Sugar Song is no slouch when it comes to using a sword, but she's the librarian. She's the one that seems to have the knowledge, sort of. That seems to be the dichotomy. I mean, please correct me if you got a different impression, but and so as a result, she kind of comes across as maybe a little bit dumber than she does in canon, because in canon she actually comes off quite smart, at least to me. So, but again, does it serve the story, these inconsistencies? And I think it does. I think it creates moments of humor, and it creates a balance of the characters that work in the story that's being told. So I'm not put out by the existing discrepancies exactly. I just, at the end, I'm left confused as a reader whether this was a crack fic or not. And if it wasn't a crack fic, then I'm left with other questions that I'll bring up later. But as far as characterization goes, the dialogue is written for comedy, and I do hear Luna's voice come through, and I do feel that the characterization of Luna, for the purposes of comedy, works. Do I feel that it's a 100% true to canon characterization for those three? I don't. I feel that there's enough discrepancy for me to say that I don't feel that they're 100%. But I think that the differences that are there to serve the story. So I'm more or less okay with it. So there, I spoke way too long. Someone else talk.
Illya, what do you reckon?
I think maybe the characters are a bit off, but they have to be for the comedy. These are accurate comedy Celestia, Lunas, and Daring Do's.
Flanderized.
They have to be somewhat slapstick. You can't be that intelligent and be the Three Stooges. So there's some character bending that's going on there, but I think it's acceptable. As far as the reveal at the end, where Luna didn't know, yeah, that's out of character, but it's fascinating. It leaves you at the end of the story with a wow. That's kind of interesting. I never thought of that. So I like that as well. Even if it is a little out of character, it's fun. It's thought provoking.
And Nomad, what do you think?
To jump off from what Clever said, I'm a horror person, I'm not a comedy person, but I really, really like how they wrote Luna. Because you never know if she's being serious or not. Like the bit about, okay, what about cows? Are they slave or not? This part just sent me. And she always had this type of moment. Same thing with when she has the baby in her hooves, like, oh, I'm gonna gobble you up, and there's a pause, and you're like, are you being serious or is that a metaphor? I feel like Luna slips sometimes because Nightmare Moon and all that. For Celestia's way of being portrayed, I feel like there was that old fake, I think it was Paper Tiger, kind of, but make it funny. And for the two others, the Daringdo and Sugar Song, they were a lot for me, for my personal taste. But for Luna, I feel like she was pretty well written. And Celestia fumbling, trying so hard to be bad, but fumbling. The princesses were fine.
Okay. Vladdy? I am doing this out of order, by the way. This is on purpose. I like to mix it up a bit.
I know, and I have to always be on guard. God damn it.
Yeah, I don't want people to get too complacent.
So, I would say Celestia was pretty spot on. That's what's written down. I'm gonna read it like that.
Well, if Sugar Song can feel like she's canon, Celestia is canon. She's probably up there with Celestia.
Artists
Oh,
are
God.
birds.
That was one of the first things I saw about this fandom, and I was like, okay, this is not as innocent as I thought.
Oh my god, you sweet summer child, if you ever thought this fandom was innocent. Childhood cartoon fandoms. It's really bizarre, this. And
It was before I got into My Little Pony. I was just like, why is everyone talking about ponies? And then I see Celestia, and I'm like, oh.
It's really bizarre that the more time I've spent online, and I've been in fandoms since 2001. So I've been in fandom a very long time. But childhood cartoon fandoms tend to be full of adults creating fanfic and things. Adult stuff, like Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss and Family Guy, full of children. It just seems very
Oh my god,
wrong
you're
to me.
right.
Yeah. Like something's aimed at adults, but the fandom is full of young people who are too young to watch the canon material, and shows that are aimed at children, full of adults trying to recapture their misbegotten youth.
Yeah, like a 7-year-old me memorizing the whole Monty Python the Holy Grail movie by heart.
Yep.
Not kidding.
Oh no, I don't doubt it, Vladdy, because we're all really neurodivergent in this chat.
Yeah.
I knew the Lion
What?
King script by heart. Ugh.
It was autism all along.
Yep.
Ha-ha!
Some people are artistic, we're just autistic.
Some people are artistic and autistic.
Ooh,
You get to be a double dipper.
look at you.
The dipping has been doubled.
That was perfect.
Anyway, back to
would-
Celestia here.
Back to Celestia. Oh, no, it's you, Vladdy. Sorry. All this conversation, and I was like, oh, wait, no, she hasn't actually said her topic. Go on.
It wasn't me for once. Anyway, so
I'll point out
Stop
I'm
it! I'm
ADHD.
trying to
I
be
cannot
silly.
remember fucking anything. It's amazing that you guys allow me to organise things since I'm really shit at it, and narrator's not here to keep me in line.
Well, you don't give the torch to anyone else.
It's true.
Right, okay, Vladdy, you are now crowned. There you go. This is your podcast now.
Oh.
All right,
Penis.
fucking bring it. All right, so Celestia, I would say she fits pretty well. Like, even though she's trying to look evil and stuff, it's for the good cause of looking evil for the evil Minotaur, so that they can be peaceful together and respect her. And so she only does like the bare minimum that would cause the least amount of damage. And yeah, she threw a Sugar Song in a dungeon, but she did treat her like fairly well, making sure she's like well fed and taken care of and stuff. So just enough that she's like slightly like intimidated and scared about what's going on, make Daring Do angry enough to convince the villains that she is in fact worthy of having heroes hunt her down, while also not alerting like I want to mention. Oh, okay. I'll mention that part later about like the main six stuff, but yeah. So Celestia, I felt, was very much like how she is. She has a little bit of mischievousness to her. And that came through a little bit while still being mostly benevolent and keeping with the theme about the horseshoe, about at what point do you become like good or evil, or is there a difference at all? Luna, she's more serious in the show, but this is a spot-on depiction of how Luna acts in the comics. This is exactly how she is. She is a lot more silly and insane in that. So if you're wondering what Luna is like in that, she definitely would be okay with just being evil, and I think she totally gets that. At the very least, villainy stuff was meant to be more an aesthetic thing, hence why she was such a good prisoner to Daring Do and Sugar Song, because she didn't really care about being evil. She just wanted to be evil. Ugh. I think that was more the case for her. So I would say, at least comic-wise, perfect spot on Luna. Daring Do felt like a Indiana Jones knockoff, fit perfectly. There was she was a little more hot-headed this time, but that's because her totally not love interest was in danger, which was exactly what Celestia was trying to do. So I would say that fit, because she still had her smart moments of, well, wait a minute, this architect, this the sign of this dagger, it looks similar to Minotaur style, but then later, it's because it's similar to the cows and stuff, so that makes sense. So she has a little bit of smart, as she starts calming down. So I'd say that fits. So yeah, that's my characterization for those three. And so then, I guess because this is my podcast, we're moving on to question 6.
I was going to say, hang on, no, Midnight hasn't had her say yet.
I was wondering.
It's fucking harder than it looks, isn't it, bloody?
My apologies. But anyway, so, Midnight, what did you think of the characterization of Celestia, Luna, and Daring Do?
To be honest, I don't think I can add much. I mean, I got the impression more that Celestia and Luna were you know how in the later seasons they seem to they're less regal and more ridiculous? That was my impression. I agree that it's definitely played off way more for the comedy, but I never felt like Celestia wasn't being Celestia. I just thought maybe she was, I don't know, high or something. Luna, the fact that she wasn't told by Celestia, I agree. Again, that seems a little weird, but also she was kind of sent to the moon and came back at a completely different time period, so she still obeys her sister. And I don't know. Yeah, Daring Do was fine, and the what was the other girl's name? Shit.
Sugar Song.
Sugar Song.
Sugar Song. Yeah, Sugar Song was fun too. But yeah, you guys kind of covered everything.
All right then. So then now we'll move on to prompt 6. Yeah, until you take it back, I'm gonna keep rolling, Earl. And in fact,
for me,
let's
I will
start.
point out though, you didn't ask for my input on the characterization, so
Yeah.
I was about to ask for your input on Sugar Song, but okay, yeah. Scribbler, what is your impression on the characterization of Celestia, Luna, and Daring Do?
I think that Celestia was very salacious.
Agreed.
That's all you get from me.
No Luna or Daring Do from you?
Fuck off.
Luna was very lunary. and Daring Do was very daring. And you can fuck right off if you think you're getting more out of me.
I'm taking over that part.
Alrighty.
Okay, I'm losing all of my jobs here.
Oh my.
Illya
Right,
is now the fuck off king. Vladdy is the real moderator. Well, actually, no. Vladdy is the host, which means that Clever, Midnight, and Nomad, one of you is going to have to be narrator and be the real moderator.
Oh shit. I can't fill those hooves.
No thanks.
Nomad, you're up.
Okay.
Nomad, you've got to keep Vladdy on track. There you go, Vladdy. There you go.
Okay. So, can we move on to prompt 6 for real this time?
Well, we've
or am I
done
forgetting
prompt
someone
6.
else? Because
Yeah,
I
we
was
already
Done
did it.
prompt
track.
6. So you need
We
prompt
did it.
7.
Okay, I guess
Told
we're
you.
not doing prompt 6 then.
It's
Well, we did
more
it.
difficult than it looks, isn't it?
Well, when you take away the no
I
questions,
don't
it
think
is.
we did it.
Well,
Someone
we
needs
did.
to take
I
the
asked-
doc privileges
I
from
asked-
Scribbler.
I asked at the very start, is Sugar Song a real character?
And she's not.
She's not,
Well,
as
I
we've
was waiting
established.
until this one to say at least my opinion, but I guess I'm a host, so I don't get opinions no more.
No, tough shit. It's all right.
The host can have
All right.
opinions.
Yeah, Hostess sometimes has opinions. Sometimes Hostess is like, fuck, we've been talking for 4 hours and we need to move on.
Yeah.
That's true. Anyway, speaking of, we then need to move on to
Penis!
number 7.
Oh my god, Clever has to be the penis
Clever
boy then.
New Flatty.
Vladdy, okay, so let's get this established at this point for those listening. Vladdy's the new Scribbler. Apart from the bit we're telling people to fuck off, because that's Illya.
Yeah.
Clever is the new Vladdy.
Penis.
Nomad is the new narrator. And Midnight is the new Midnight.
Sounds good.
There we go.
All right then. If we're all good to go.
Body
Number
swap.
But if you're
Oh my God.
if you're the new Scribbler, you've got to be English.
All right then. How does the comedy land in 2026? Scribbler, you go first.
It lands fairly well.
All right then. Nomad Flicker. We're gonna keep fucking going like this.
I like how you're keeping
And I'm
the
slowly
accent,
gonna
even
turn
when
more
you're
cockney over
angry.
time.
Suddenly Scribbler is from London.
I said fuck off, not
Oh,
fuck up.
Oh, boy.
I can't keep an accent straight for shit, so you fucked up there.
Good, because Scribbler can't be straight for shit, so yeah.
Oh.
Oh, Matt, how does the comedy land?
It's a cartoon comedy, so it still works.
All right then. Midnight, how does the comedy land in 2026?
Considering every single person here had at least fun in some sort with the story, I say it lands very well.
Nice, nice. Illya?
I'm curious about the prompt because what year was this written? Do you remember?
I'll have to look that.
I think that was earlier, 2017.
2017, so 9 years.
Okay.
So, Scribbler, was this your original prompt?
Yes, it was.
What did you mean by that?
Meaning, like, how does the comedy age? Because comedy is one of those genres whereby there reaches a point where some comedy just isn't funny anymore. Often, like, fandom-based comedy, like certain interpretations of characters that are then countermounted by canon, or just, like, for example, in 2011 to 2012, the earliest part of the fandom, there was a lot of edgelord humour that just hasn't aged well. So I'm wondering, the comedy from this story, is it ageless, or was it of its time?
I sort of feel like it works not because of the subject matter, but because of the timing that Aragon put into the thing. It just, the beats hit so well that makes it land regardless of the subject matter.
Oh, I knew Scribbler, come on.
All right, I was making sure nothing else was being said. Chill, old Scribbler.
Oh, my.
Scribbler is very, very old. She earned every one of her grey hairs.
What do you? All right then, Clever. How's the comedy land?
I mean, the comedy lands. I don't feel like any of the comedy or the writing that produces the comedy relies on anything too topical, anything that gets too countermounted in canon, although again there are questions I have. So I think it I mean I laughed. I thought it held up. So yeah, it held up.
Good. All right then, moving.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Flatty.
Huh?
All right, moving on to.
Yes.
We can't have two Flatties. No, we can't have
The
two
world,
of you.
the world is ready for two Vladdies.
I don't know.
All right, you're the new Clever then, Scribbler.
I don't know enough about maths to be the new Clever.
Oh, I don't bring the math.
But you know
to
enough
the
about
pony.
mimicking someone saying penis.
Penis.
Yeah, there you go. On to number 8.
I think Clever
What
just turned into
are
Muttley.
Quiet, Clever. Clever Flad, you're the one who put this prompt down, so what are cows? Cows are a very interesting topic in this.
Yeah, what are cows? I had to go back to a season 1 episode where Applejack staves off a stampede because I couldn't remember if cows were even supposed to be sentient or not, or whether they were just livestock or what. And then no, they're sentient.
I have something to say here when you're ready.
Okay.
We'll go to you after Clever Flatty.
But yeah, like the question was like I felt it was legit. I like, what are they? Do they sell their milk? Or are they milked? That's unclear. The buffalo are clearly, a culture and a people in their own right, and obviously a metaphor for North American natives. But the other bovines, they're like Iron Will, like he comes off very different than the other, just cows. So it's I don't know. It does feel unclear what cows are, and what does it mean by second-class citizens? Like, what are their complaints? So many questions. Like, what does it mean in Equestria to be treated like a second-class citizen? Was that just a polite way of saying slave? I don't know.
That is where my issue with the fic comes in. This is what I mentioned earlier.
All right,
and I am going to wrest control. I'm going to wrest control of the hosting back because this is not a nice topic. The one thing about this fic that felt unresolved was the entire thing about the cows being second-class citizens, and I went back and had a look, and it just very much felt like, whether intentionally or not, because Aragon does not strike me as like a not nice person, but the fic definitely gave the vibe of, yeah, but it's okay to have some second-class citizens, actually. Which left a bit of a sour taste, like terrible milk in my mouth.
Sour milk.
Did anybody else get that vibe?
Well, they really didn't resolve their concern. They
just ran away.
But, and then they were going to be punished. It was the implication. Because you can't just let these people try and subvert the monarchy without punishment. But
I come from a country that I very much like to subvert a fucking royalty right now.
Well, I mean, it had Guy Fawkes vibes, in trying to blow up Parliament.
Yeah.
But
the
cows
had a fucking point, okay? They had a terrible way of enacting it.
Well, no,
yes,
did they?
Very much.
What did it mean, though? What did it mean to be they didn't get into it. Like, how are they second-class citizens?
The fact that they are not given the same rights as ponies, that they are made to live in sheds and milk.
Are they?
It's implied that, yes, they are. Because when in Ghostbusters, in the first season, when Twilight is getting rid of the Ursa Minor, she takes the top off of a water tower and sends it through a barn. There's a whole bunch of mooing, and it comes out the other side full of milk. And she gives that to the Ursa Minor to rock it to sleep. And the idea is that the cows live in the barn on the farm, which does beg the question: why do the donkeys get to live in houses and the cows don't?
But is that
why do the cows not get to sell their milk of their own volition?
But
because the implication is not great.
I agree that is definitely an interpretation that makes sense, but we don't hear it from the cows. And
because they're just told, oh, run. This is the part where you run.
I guess. So anyway, but looking at it from this is a comedy, and if I'm the author, maybe I don't want to get into all that heavy-handedness because it's going to change the tone. But it is something that if it was a crack fic, I wouldn't question.
That's why that's why it left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, purely because that question felt too serious. for this fic.
But it's the same as it is in the show. I mean, it's treated as comedy in the show.
Can I just read out the wiki page on cattle from MLPfandom.com?
Go for it.
Yep.
Cattle are a domesticated species in Ponyville. Cows are seen living in a barn in Ponyville in Ghostbusters, and males are seen pulling carts in Hearts and Hooves Day, and during the song Raise This Barn in Apple Family Reunion. At the beginning of Applebuck season, Applejack diverts a cattle stampede headed toward Ponyville. Afterwards, a brown and white cow, Daisy Joe, apologizes to Applejack and explains that her friend Moo Riella saw a snake, which frightened the cows into stampeding. Daisy Joe has a Wisconsin accent, referencing the state's well-known dairy product industry, and has almost the same name as a G3 Earth pony named Daisy Joe. Daisy Joe appears again in A Friend Indeed, with Pinkie Pie addressing her by name. A white and black cow makes various appearances in One Bad Apple, and 2 cows appear at the beginning of Sleepless in Ponyville. 2 cows wearing Rainbow Dash masks appear in Pinkie Pride during the Goof-Off. In Slice of Life, a cow appears in Ponyville, and Daisy Joe appears at Cranky Doodle Donkey and Matilda's wedding. In Not Asking for Trouble, Pinkie Pie employs a narrative depicting helpful cows in an effort to convince Prince Rutherford to ask for help for the yaks. Daisy Joe is also a character in Gameloft's mobile game. Her bio states, the smiling steer calls Sweet Apple Acres home. Green grass is her favourite. A pony version of Daisy Joe was added in Update 10.1. Her bio states, still trying to avoid stampeding when she can. In My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, the comics, Pinkie Pie mentions Cowheely as a language. A group of outlaw bulls and a herd of cows appear in the story arc, The Good, the Bad and the Ponies. So they are apparently citizens who live in barns.
For comedy.
For comedy, yes. It just felt like the author really should have picked something else to make them rail against. Something a little less, let's say, controversial than, second-class citizenry. Maybe maybe ponies need to warm up their hooves before they milk us. I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Terrible with cold hands, okay?
I want to see a fanfic where Twilight gets sued by all the cows for molestation. Molestation.
Molestation. Well, Vladdy's going to write that then. Luna's got to arbitrate over the court case so that Vladdy can voice her.
Ooh.
There we go. Coming soon to Vladdy's channel.
No, I don't know enough about laws and politics to write a fic like that.
Well, we're making it up. Apparently, this one has said it's fine for them to be second-class citizens, so just make up whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly.
Ah, shit. I have a hammer.
Or a gavel.
But yeah, do you get what I mean? That everything about this fic I loved, apart from the justification for why the cows were rebelling. In a crack fic, it definitely felt like they should have picked something less serious.
I think in my head canon, the cows once upon a time tried to integrate into society, and they were just so clumsy and stupid that they just had to leave them out.
Okay.
Funnily enough, there is actually a fic on Goombasa's channel called War Pigs, and it's a grimdark. Like, it is genuinely like a dark fic. But, and spoilers here for a fic that we're not even like talking about, but it's Celestia explaining how in the early days of Equestria, pigs were sentient and were on the same level as ponies, but they kept enslaving other animals and using magic to make them stupid so that they couldn't look after themselves, so that they could be exploited. And one of them that they went after was they took I think they called them the bovines, and turned them into what are modern day cows who physically cannot look after themselves because the pigs did what is basically like a magical stupefaction on them. And that's why cows need to be looked after, because Celestia feels responsible that on her watch, the war pigs, did that to them.
Okay.
And I've always liked that explanation for, that's why. Either that, or just like the cows are just like, fuck, they look after us and feed us and do everything we want. We're basically cats. Let them get on with it.
But still, I see you say for a crack fic, it was too serious, and I say that if it had been a crack fic, it wouldn't have bothered me at all. They could have had any reason. Like, to me, to be saying that they're treated like second-class citizens could have been because ponies didn't warm up their hooves when they were getting milked. Like that could have been. Like, saying that they're being treated like second-class citizens without actually hearing what the complaint is, because that's
In which case, they should have made up a really silly complaint of they treat us like second-class citizens. Why?
I would have loved
because they won't let us wear makeup, or because they.
We
I
don't
don't
get
know.
clothes ever. No one makes it in our size, or something.
Or because they won't let us shit in the street.
I can see that.
Like that. Just that enough one line of, well, how are you second class? Because pooping on the ground is our right.
We like Pinkie Pie, but no one likes cow pies.
There we go. Immediately would have solved the problem.
I will say that it was apparent from Aragon's narration that he didn't approve of the idea of second-class citizens either, so it wasn't really.
But that's why the ending of their story didn't land as well as I would have liked. Because, yeah, like I said, Aragon seems like a very reasonable person. He seems like a lovely person. I think I met him at a con once. I cannot remember. But if he is the person I'm thinking of, he was lovely. Incredibly tall. What the fuck? When you're 5'2", everybody's tall, but he was like Gucci-sized. But lovely person. Lovely person. Which is why the ending of the story just made me go, oh, can they not just have Celestia go, fine, we'll give them rights then?
Well, but then she wouldn't have looked evil.
I don't know. It just feels like she's, I don't know. It didn't land for me. It's fine for other people. There we go.
I can see your point there. Yeah, they could have ended it with her doing something about their
I kind of thought she
I
was
guess.
going to be honest.
I just got the vibe she was going to punish them and move on.
Hamburgers are on the plate now.
Forget Hayburgers.
And everyone with a cow persona just crossed their legs.
Oh my.
Okay.
Burgers.
Right. Does anybody else have anything to say about what are cows?
They're delicious.
Since I'm not host no more.
There we go. Vladdy, you get to be Vladdy again.
Yay!
Yay!
Clever, you're
I
still...
guess there's two Vladdies now.
I don't know. You can still be Vladdy 2.0. Oh, wait, no, you're Mirror World Vladdy. Where's she's Mel?
Ah!
Oh no. Anyway, so I kind of got the impression that Celestia was going to look into it maybe later, but was just having to deal with the specific cows that tried to kill her at the immediate time. And also, yeah, look evil and all. So that's maybe why she didn't look into it sooner because of the whole Minotaur thing, because she's like, okay, well, I got to look somewhat evil. And also, it sounds like Luna's going to be rubbing it. Luna said she's going to rub it in Celestia's face because she mentioned it to her earlier about them being second-class citizens. And so likely, at the very least, Celestia probably wouldn't want to hear that all the time. Would be like, all right, fine. So that's why I didn't have a bad taste in my mouth, is because I guess I just assumed that it would be taken care of. I don't know.
Anyone else? Moving on then.
Moving.
Ha 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 ha.
Ha
Ha ha ha. I'm in agony.
I love that line.
Okay, so Clever has asked the question: when or where in canon is this fic supposed to take place? So Clever, take this one.
I honestly don't know. That's why I asked the question. I mean, obviously, it's after the fight with Tyrek the first time, potentially the last time, I guess. But then we have Twilight running the kingdom, so probably not the last time. So somewhere between season 3 and the last season is the best I could narrow it. I was wondering if anyone else, and why I was even caring about where to place this was because, again, the plot holes in my head that can come up depending upon where it was in canon.
Does anyone want to take this?
No.
Thank you, Vladdy.
No one wants to take it. All right, so it's somewhere between season 3 and the last season.
There we go. That nebulous place where a lot of fics take place.
Okay.
That's good enough.
Yep, I wanted to know because I was like, where, and I didn't write this exactly, but I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna do it. Where the hell are the main six?
Twilight has
Well-
some suppression. Twilight was in on the story.
Yeah,
She wasn't,
Celestia did
though.
say, I have a student who realised what I was up to and would have taken me down if she thought I'd really done something.
Well, it didn't say that she realized what was going on, but that if she'd done anything really untoward, she would have taken her down. But again, that maybe that fits under characterization. That doesn't make sense. Like,
Why not?
I know that Twilight worships Celestia. Like, I get that. But like Luna flying around with bat wings and like really reclaiming this whole evil persona, and Celestia going along with it, I can't see them minding their own business and butting out of it. I just can't.
Well, they didn't.
But she didn't.
I think we're passing in the night like ships here or something.
Yeah. Because the only line that tries to explain this away, I don't think does a good enough job. And it basically is like, yeah, if I'd done anything too bad, I've got a student that would have, been upset. So I don't think you need to worry. I haven't really done anything too despot-y. But I don't think that covers it. Like,
I took that to mean that Twilight was in on the gag.
Well, but in the text, it's very clear. She didn't tell anyone, not even her own sister, because she was afraid that whoever had poisoned her had to have had access and eyes and ears all around her. So she told no one.
I didn't get that.
Well, it's very clear in the text, because Daring was pissed off that, you could have told me kind of thing. And she was like, I can't. I didn't even tell Luna. And then there's this revolution that she didn't, Luna didn't even know. Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, okay, again, if it's a crack fic, I can, whatever, but it's not. Here we're trying to get in some logic, and the author tries to even, deal with the whole issue of like, where the hell are the main six? Like, wouldn't they stop a despot from taking over, even if it was Celestia? And they handle it with that one line was, well, she wasn't too despot-y, so they didn't step in. And I mean,
she said that I wasn't too despot-y. What did she say? What was the word?
Let me. I will find the
Please look
exact
it
words. I will. But that's my issue, is that's the only line that really kind of handles it. And to me, it's like, if you're going to provide logic at the end, that's not enough for me. You got to somehow make that work a bit more, because that really bothered me. But I will shut up and I will go read and find the spot, and then I will come back and other people can discuss, have coffee talk amongst yourselves. Be right back.
Okay, Lois.
Lois?
I am the only flatty.
Okay. Does anyone else want to weigh in on this one?
I do. So
yeah,
I
go
think
on then, Bloody.
I think it's I think just Daring Do knew that about Celestia becoming a despot, just because her assistant got kidnapped by her. But I don't think many other people really knew. Like, we don't see any guards or anything, so she might have just let them all go on like a vacation or something. And it sounds like all she really did was, besides kidnap Sugar, was just change the aesthetic to look evil and stuff. So I don't think news even reached the main six. So that's why I don't question that. I think they just didn't even know, and at the very least, they might just thought, oh, she's just trying a new look or something. So yeah, I don't think they even knew anything was happening.
Yeah, there's definitely seemed to be something inside the castle.
Very much.
So, is this something that can be forgiven for the whims of comedy? That we needed the main six to not be there for the rest of the characters to even work, but that came at the cost of logic? Because I think we've established that we're trying to apply logic to a fic that resists it.
I
not
still
sure
have more to
if this
say, but
answers
I'm reading.
Bloody first, then Midnight, then Clever.
Oh, nope. It was the
Okay,
others.
Vladdy, then Clever.
I don't know if this answers that your question at all, but it does feel very much like if the main six were there, the fic would have been just way too messy, throwing in all the characterization, and they would have overshadowed all the other characters. And it was honestly much better like this than if they threw in the main six. They weren't needed for this.
Clever?
Okay, I'm almost there, but I will read one part. Hang on. All right. So this is very near the end, and here it's Daring Do and Celestia kind of debriefing, and Daring Do says, "Why?" And Celestia goes, "Because I picked my own tea, Daring Do," Celestia explained, and her voice was soft. "I've done so for centuries, but suddenly there was poison in it. To be able to sneak past my security measures, they had to be close, whoever they were. So you didn't tell me." "I didn't tell any pony," Celestia said. "I became the Tyrant Queen because, to be able to poison my tea, they needed eyes and ears everywhere. I needed them to grow impatient, bold, and I couldn't risk them knowing I was not a real tyrant. But then it turned out it was the milk that held the poison. I shouldn't have worried, and the conspiracy was much smaller than I thought," she smiled. "Let's call this a little lesson of humility, and I shouldn't have done this. I'm sorry," Daring Do sighed. "Princess and then she stopped. A blink. "Wait a minute. Wait a moment," she said. "You didn't tell any pony?" "No. Not even Princess Luna?" "No." Celestia cocked her head to the side. So she didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And so she wouldn't have told Twilight, and they wouldn't have known. And I'm still finding the part where that she says something to the effect of that, because I think they were talking about like how the public was going to perceive her and the switch to her being benevolent again. And she basically, she doesn't, I'm not quoting the words correctly, but the meaning was that, well, I guess I didn't really do anything too despot like, it's not going to be a big deal, to go back because I didn't really do much.
I still think you told Twilight. It says here, "I have a very special student, Daring Do, and I do not think she would have, and I think she would have never let me do this if I had oppressed my subjects." That to me said that Twilight let her do it, and
I think that
to me
Twilight
that
would have
implies that
guessed
she
what was going on.
knew.
Or at the very least, she has so much trust in Celestia that she assumed, well, she must know what she's doing. She wouldn't just do this out of nowhere. She must have a reason.
But I can't see Twilight just not butting in and demanding an explanation.
Oh, I can. When it comes to Celestia, I can absolutely see her just going, no, Celestia's infallible. Especially if we're thinking this is like around the end of season 3, the beginning of season 4. She hasn't yet reached the point of seeing Celestia as an equal, so she would assume.
But would Starlight Glimmer allow it?
If we're talking season 4, there is no Starlight Glimmer.
I know.
Fuck
this is why it's also important to understand where this is supposed to be taking place. Because, like, if we go later seasons, I don't think Starlight Glimmer would have... I think she would have kicked Twilight into, like, you got to at least investigate this. Like, the castle just went black. She's being asked to be called, Queen Tyrant, or whatever she was going by. Tyrant Queen Tyrant? Yes, ruling as Queen Tyrant.
Queen.
Well, it's Queen Tyrant, it says here.
Whatever.
And
I'm right. I am the host.
You are.
In my headcanon, Twilight confronted her about it, and she spilled the beans when Twilight. She didn't tell her, but she confronted her, and she confessed then. I mean, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief here. I think you can kind of make up your own headcanon on this.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at, is that, like, if it had been a crack fic, I mean, the main 6 could have all been on vacation, like for a month, off solving a friendship problem, or even
the cows are complaining about hooves that are too cold.
Right. Like, it doesn't need much explanation. But because the fic, see, I didn't bring logic into this, and that's what I want to point out. I'm not the one that brought logic into this. It was the author, it was Aragon, that starts bringing logic into it. We start getting an explanation that is very logical. for explaining why and what the motivations were. And if we were just left that it was on a whim or whatever, I wouldn't be questioning it. It wouldn't bother me at all, because that's how crackfics go. It's a complete suspension of disbelief. It's like asking why is there a moose at the beginning of Monty Python and the Holy Grail? There's no rhyme or reason. It's just for the comedy. But because Aragon goes to the trouble of trying to make Celestia's motivations make sense and consistent, or at least more consistent with her character in canon, that we now I have questions. Now I've got an issue with okay, so like, where's Discord? Like, he would love this. Like, there's no way he, in a world where Discord exists and is free, that he wouldn't be, like, at the very least, munching on popcorn watching this. Like,
you have to relax a little bit and just let the comedy take over. I mean,
but that's
crackfic is not a dividing line. It's a spectrum like anything else. Okay, this is sort of into crackfic and sort of not. Just take it with a grain of salt. It's all right.
So Illya's here being the great defender, and I'm being the great critic.
It's okay. You can be that. I don't mind. I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's
you're just reminding me out of two of the cars from Cars. Of yeah, this doesn't make sense. Yeah, just go with it, man.
Just go with the flow.
Pot's legal in Canada. Maybe I need to find some. I don't know. But yeah, that like, I think that there could have been a missed. Okay, so I'm jumping around because
there were a lot of missed opportunities. And that's what you're going to say. There are a ton of them.
Yeah, because I mean, there could have been an attempt, and maybe she enslaved the main six, or it appeared that she enslaved the main. Like, there could have been such comedy with that. Because Daring Do is not the only hero in Equestria.
Okay, we have reached that point in the story that we always reach, where we begin to rewrite it, and it's perfectly normal for us to do that, and I'm glad you're doing that, because there are a lot of fun things that could have been done that weren't done here.
And I know that, that the author obviously had a plan, executed the plan, and clearly the main six were not part of the plan. I'm not saying they need to be in the fic. I feel like they could have explained that logical problem and still kept the comedy by having a comedic thing happen to them that, and I don't know what that thing would have been. Would have maybe take a couple of days of brainstorming to come up with something, but I think it could have dealt with that in a way that could have enriched the comedy. Didn't necessarily take away from the main story. And yeah, there are a lot of things that they could have done, but I feel like that was a specific missed beat that stuck out to me as one of the tapestry of this fic, which weaves a very wonderful thing to look at and enjoy. That's a loose thread that's gnawing at me. And
there you come to my point in stories like this, or any story at all. If it takes you out of the story, it's a problem. And I can see how that was doing that for you. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so I feel like that could have, there could have been a solution to that would have still kept it light, kept it funny. That's my, I have so many issues, but that's mine with this particular fic. Is that when you suddenly bring logic back into it, now you're asking me to evaluate that's why. But then you don't take it the whole way. I don't know. I feel a little unsatisfied. You got me so far, but you didn't take me over the goal line. So
that you're saying the fic edged you?
Pretty much. This is an edgy fic. Is that a genre? Is that a tag?
What the fuck are you talking about?
I love the fact that nobody in here seems to have understand the filthy joke I've just made.
I did.
You didn't react.
Because I don't know. agreed with you. It did.
You were too busy being angry at the fic.
I was edged. I completely agree with that.
Too taken by the frustration of being edged by a story.
Ugh. So close.
And yet so far.
So far.
But in the end, it doesn't even matter.
Oh my god.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Oh.
Absolutely amazing, bloody.
Relax. Get to it.
Don't you know?
If you want to go do it. Well, I think we should probably leave this point here.
Okay.
We've left
Okay.
Clever slightly wrung out.
Oh.
Although, Clever, it's your point again next. That title, though.
Yeah.
So I guess we get to hear more of your dulcet tones. Come on, what do you mean?
So evil is easy. No, it wasn't. Celestia was really bad at it. The whole thing
But
was.
Luna was good at it.
Was she? Huzzah!
She was
I am
certainly-
a prisoner.
Because she knew that she could, like she said, it would take me about 5 seconds to disarm you.
So how evil is that?
Very! She talks about eating children.
But when she's given the opportunity, does she?
She nearly gets the baby Minotaur killed. I think it was Sugar Song who literally went, no, don't do that. Luna was absolutely going to hold up that child for his dad to smack into a wall.
Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, play stupid games, get stupid prizes. That's how I feel about the Minotaur guy. I'm like, if he's not going to stop himself, that just proves how terrible he is. But
I mean, he was a despot. We kind of knew he was terrible anyway.
wow. But even despots are supposed to care about their lineage, somewhat.
I don't know. I think Henry VIII might have had something to say about that.
But regardless, I don't think that in this case, evil was the easy way to solve this problem that she had, or multiple problems that she had, at least in the beginning. But she was terrible at it. I don't even think it was easy for her, and that.
I'll give you that. Celestia found it really fucking difficult.
Yeah. So, evil is easy, governing is hard. I think it's a great title. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know that it actually, upon reading the story, that I'm left with feeling that it's accurate in
Bloody,
terms of
you
the fic.
desperately want to speak. I know you're next, but I think that you tapping it is putting Clever off.
It's okay.
Sorry,
I'm
is
done.
it making noise?
It's making a lot of noise. I'm just
so
looking at it
sorry.
going, I'm
thought I was just
ADHD, you
doing
must
picture, I'm
focus
sorry.
because Bloody wants to go next. When she stops making the noise, don't forget she's not stopping making the noise. I'm going to have to say something.
I'm done.
Okay, Bloody.
I'm so sorry for the noise.
It's fine. Go on.
Anyway, the whole point is that she's not actually being evil, she is governing. That's why it was so difficult, because she was playing this whole, chessboard game, and she just sucks at being evil because she's not actually evil. Hence the title! I'm done.
I mean, there's so
Bloody
many knots
has big
there.
feelings.
Yeah.
Yes,
There's
I
so many
did.
knots there. But okay. I'll buy that for $1.
Anybody else want to comment on this? Nope. Should we move on?
Try
Then?
me.
No.
Okay then. Shit, I closed the window. 1 second. Okay. Oh gosh. Does the ending... Clever, you brought up Logic versus Crack again.
I'm crossing it out because I already.
To be
Yeah.
honest, we've already talked about does the ending work, so I don't think we need that point. That was one I put in, but I think we might have actually thoroughly answered that already.
Well, but I don't know that everybody had an opportunity to speak on it. I don't know if
Does anybody else want
wants
to talk about
it.
the ending?
I found it similar
Bloody-
to the comics. I think it worked.
Dead kittens aside.
I just remember screaming, "What the fuck?" So it worked, and it worked in its effect.
Anytime that I scream "What the fuck," it's a good day.
Exactly.
Okay. So, Illya. For once, Clever, it's not one of your points. You get a rest. So, Illya, your point. Comedy is harder than horror, or is it?
Yeah, that's a question I wanted to ask, actually, and just talk about. I've heard it before. I've heard that actors really enjoy doing comedy, and it's difficult. It because of timing and the way you say lines means so much in acting. I don't know about writing because I've never written comedy or horror. I'm wondering about that, and I've also heard that they're the same thing, that they sort of they influence the same emotions, suspension of disbelief and that sort of thing. So they're really sort of tied together. So I was just trying to stimulate a conversation on that.
Huh. I don't think I'd heard that last point.
Do you want to elaborate there? What do you think, Clever? Do you think that, because you actually make fanfic readings and you've done both comedy and horror, so is comedy harder than horror?
I mean, as a actor?
Well, as an actor, but also because you've produced your own comedy fic readings on your channel. Plug, 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 plug. You know about timings when it comes to comedy fic. What do you think? Because I've put you in enough grimdarks that you know about acting in grimdarks, but you also know about editing, timing, and comedy. So thoughts?
Well, comedy, I don't know that it's... This is one of those, I don't know if it's easy for me or hard for me and hard for other people or easy for other people. I don't know how to rate it. But for me, the way that I experience film and media, like I've been watching cartoons and I continue to watch cartoons, which I think form the basis of my understanding of comedic timing, like Warner Brothers films, you know, Bugs Bunny and whatnot. And you know, even some black and white, you know, Laurel and Hardy and the Stooges. I've spent so much time watching all of that, that I seem to myself have an intuitive understanding of where it makes sense to have a beat, or miss a, you know, or where there needs to be a pause or not. I mean, it's not to say that, you know, I have a, you know, innate understanding of comedy and you know, and I can just pull it out of my butt, but I don't find it, I enjoy it and I seek it out and I embrace it. I like it. I do agree that it's easy to do terribly. I think the best example I can give of that is in my daughter's attempt to try and understand comedy. And she's 12 now, and she still
holy
doesn't...
shit, she's 12?
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck?
Yeah. She's 12 going on like 18. She really wants to be older than what she is. And
yeah, I think you sent me that thing. You sent me that letter to Santa that she wrote.
Yeah. But
it feels like 5 minutes ago she was believing Twilight Sparkle was real and had sent her a scroll.
Yes. She recently asked me about that. Anyway, that's a garden path that I would love to tell you and talk to you about, but garden path. On trying to stay on topic, she doesn't understand comedy yet. I mean, and she, you know, because I got diagnosed, I decided everybody in my family need to get evaluated. And she basically has pretty much the same diagnosis that I do. I mean, it's slightly different, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same. And watching her trying to piece together what makes something funny really underscores to me sort of the mental process of trying to understand comedy and the difference between someone who innately gets it or has figured it out and someone who's trying to desperately to understand it, knows when something's funny, but cannot reproduce it themselves. And in seeing her struggle, when I try to explain to her, you know, why this is funny and this isn't, I very quickly find that my ability to describe or explain, you know, why this is funny and this isn't, dries up quickly, because there is a lot to me that feels innate, and undeclarative in terms of the knowledge and understanding of what makes something humorous, and difficult to explain to a 12-year-old too, especially when she's trying to use sarcasm, but she doesn't really get how to use sarcasm in a way that isn't just being an ass. Yeah.
I really hope she
it's
never
Brian.
listens to these.
Well, her and I have had some real heart-to-hearts about that, and we've talked about how difficult it can be to communicate with other people, and that, you know, your meaning of how you want things to come across versus how people interpret it, you know, is often very different. And I've had the same struggles, and so she does come to me and talk to me about this stuff. So, you know, you might think that it's harsh the way I've just put it, but we've had that discussion where, you know, I've talked to her very frankly and said, look, you know, like how you're talking to your mom right now, you might think you're being funny, but you're just being an ass. Like, you're not being respectful. You're not this, you're not that. And you might not understand why that is. You know, you might think that you're just trying to be sarcastic and funny, but that's not how it's coming off. And so we have to talk about why it doesn't, and how, and context and timing and all of these things. And in the end, I said, until you really get a good grasp on these things, it's better to just not than to, you know, do it unsuccessfully. And I don't know I don't know what else to tell her for advice, you know, in terms of life, because
You can't teach it. I mean, she's just going to have to experience it, I think. Probably.
Yeah, like if you never figure out, you know, that line, which is a very fine line, then you're just, people aren't going to want to be around you. Like they're not going to get that you mean this in jest, or that you're trying to be funny. Like they're going to assume the opposite. So I do agree that it is much easier to describe and to explain horror, and to explain motivation and what makes something scary. And I think that is easier to understand and grab onto than comedy. And I think the reason for that is that comedy exists always on a knife edge, or some comedy exists on a knife edge. Not all, but some exists on this knife edge where if you push it too much one way, it's no longer comedy. And if you push it too much the other way, it's not really funny. So it is difficult. And I would say that, you know, the way to experience that difficulty, if you don't find it difficult to produce something that's funny or write something that's funny, is to try and explain to someone who is trying to attempt to do that themselves. Try and explain it to them. Then you'll understand just how difficult comedy really is.
So to understand, you have to teach.
Well,
comedy is it's experiential. There's some things that are going to be funny for some people, and they're not going to be funny for other people with different experiences. I'm not sure that's necessarily true of horror. Horror is pretty universal, I would think.
I think that there are definitely concepts in horror that are more universal. And I agree, Illya. I think that is part of the challenge, is that comedy really relies on understanding the distinction between the way you think things should be and the way things are. And lots of people aren't able to tap into sort of a zeitgeist of their time to figure out where people are at with where they think things should be. You know, they might have a internal idea, a thermometer of where that is, and maybe the people they hang out with have that same thermometer, and so they can, you know, their jokes or their ideas may land in those groups. But to be universally funny, you have to really have this, you know, overarching understanding. And to know that you are, I mean, you can't know unless you try it out and see how people respond to it. And that's where the challenge lies. And I think even some professional comedians talk about that, you know, some people sometimes they feel so disconnected from their audience that they lose their edge, you know, that they actually go back to stand up because that's where they tool and try things, and get that feedback about, is this actually funny, or do I just think it's funny?
Okay, does anybody else want to weigh in on this?
Well,
I would. Go for it.
Okay.
Thanks. I'm actually probably one of the ones that took a long time and still am learning what exactly is funny. I was quiet as a kid, so I didn't speak much, and so I actually very rarely learned where the line was. And so when I got older, more confident, and more talkative, I might have been an ass a few times. Okay, maybe more than a few times. But also that means that question got me thinking, because I recently wrote a comedy, a little short story for my sibling whose birthday was up, and I thought, let's do something funny. It worked, but I still had Visual read it over to make sure. However, when I wrote horror, which was an accident, because I worked with, I sometimes write things from a prompt and just go with it and see what comes out of my brain, and I accidentally wrote a horror. And yeah, it turned into a horror, and I gave that to Visual to read, and he had to correct a lot of it and say, that doesn't quite work. But so for me, horror is in some ways more difficult, but overall, comedy is just, as you say, Clever, there are so many variables to funny. Audience, your wording, your tone, the context of what's going on. Like, there are things that are funny whenever you're in a comedy show that you just don't say out and about. Because in a comedy show, well, I don't want to say in a comedy show it's supposed to be funny, but there is just...
Well, it's true though. Even when you struggle with humour, you go to a comedy show and on some level this is supposed to be funny, whether or not you find it that way.
Yeah. I remember a while ago there was a comedian who posted something on Twitter, and that got them into real deep trouble. But
that does not narrow it down.
It really doesn't. I'm trying to be a little bit vague, but some people said if it was said in a comedy show, in an actual thing, it wouldn't have been as bad. And I'm like,
so tone is what mattered?
More like the place, the context.
Yeah.
You don't, there's like I said, there's some things you say in a comedy you would say on the stage in a comedy than you would or even in a comedy play or things like that's supposed to be funny. You're on stage, you're performing, but you would not say some of the stuff outside. Not that it's bad, but you just wouldn't get the same reaction.
Or to your mom.
Or to your mom, yeah. There's some things you would say to your friends, but you wouldn't say to your mother, because your mother would find it terrible, your friends would find it funny.
Depending on who your mom is.
No, that's true. In my particular instance, my mother would not find it funny. But yeah. I think I went off track, but yeah, comedy is harder, is basically what I'm saying.
Even though it was easier for you to write.
I went with the very classic of, it was a D&D story, and the ending was roll to seduce the dragon. So I think I did a little bit of easy cop-out there.
I don't think there's anything easy about seducing a dragon. I'm just going to put that out there.
It depends.
Does it depend on the dragon?
It depends.
Is she thick with 2 C's?
Oh!
You know what? I'm going to send you guys the story just to see what you guys think.
Please do.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
You can go on ahead. Nomad, do you want to say something?
It was
about
Nomad,
this?
yes.
Right, sorry. Listen to all of you guys speaking. I never really realized how close comedy and horror are on the writing standpoint. I consume a lot and like a metric shit ton of analog horror. And not too long ago, there was a whole controversy. It's the series that's called The Painter. And a lot of people thought that he was I forgot the name of whoever was making the painter, but it's easy to write horror, but it's equally easy to write comedy, as in you want to disgust someone, like make them really uncomfy. Okay, you're gonna go the easy route of here's some guts, murdering babies, kittens, whatnot. Comedy is kind of the same. Like, okay, you want to make someone laugh, make someone fall, or make them hit a wall or something. So I'd say comedy and horror are very different, of course, in their context. But overall, as a writer, you're still trying to get the oh shit moment to your reader. It's just not the same kind of oh shit. With horror, it's more oh shit, the quiet one, where you realize the trouble that you're in, or whatever is happening, like in, which one? I don't know, Vita Carnis, when you realize, oh shit, these things actually talking together, or there's a big creature waiting to eat me. And for comedy, it's, oh shit, this is clever and this is funny because of the setup. So I'd say comedy and horror are actually really similar.
I know that there are older genres. I mean, horror that was produced in the 30s and 40s is sometimes, if you watch it now, it's just funny. You know, it would have scared people in the past, and now it's not. It's just funny. People's sensibilities change. What scares people changes. So the interpretive factor is always going to be there on horror, as to whether is that horror or is that comedy, you know?
Yeah, also that.
Maybe,
Practical effect and all that.
Maybe there's...
Oh, yeah, the practical effects. Absolutely.
Maybe the similarity between them is in that there exists categories of horror that are more timeless, just like there are categories of humor that are more timeless. You know, like body horror. You know, Robert Louis Stevenson in writing Jekyll and Hyde, when you read about the transformation sequence, it's very unsettling. I remember as a kid reading it, and just it stayed with me. It spooked.
Yeah, understandably so.
And I mean, that's not new, obviously. But you know, the idea that, you know, there's horror that is, you know, could now be looked at and we go, oh, that's kind of funny. You know, now it's not even all that scary. But you know, at the time, audiences found it quite frightening. I think that there is, I think that's maybe the overlap, is that there are some things that are contextual and deal with a sort of a social zeitgeist in both comedy and horror. But I also believe that there exists some that seem to transcend time periods. And I think more so in horror, I think that that's something that's a bit more resilient than humor. Because I think that I think that comedy still manages to be more contextual based on the whole. Like slapstick is slapstick, and you know, a guy getting, you know, his genitals smashed for whatever reason, if done in the right way, will never not be funny. Apparently, like that's what I've learned, of comedy. You know, if done in the right way. But that also speaks to that it's important that you get the timing right. It's important that you get the setup right. It's important that you get the context right, because it's still easy for it to not be funny. One of my favorite movies that I think explores that idea is an Adam Sandler film that wasn't produced by him. It was called Eyes Wide Shut. Not Eyes Wide Shut. That I don't know why that came out of my mouth. Oh, geez. I'll have to look it up. It basically took all the beats of an Adams, like a at that point, a very formulaic Adam Sandler movie about the angry man, but no comedic timing, much more dramatic timing. And what you saw in it was this character who was pitiable. And his plight wasn't funny, it was sad.
Can we hear a cat in the background of your...
Yep, that's Gwen.
Hello, kitty.
Yeah.
Kitty.
Hey, kitty pie. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so clear.
Yeah.
Nyanya.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. Yeah.
Is this you're not feeding me.
Oh, no, you're getting fed. She knows it. We have an automatic feeder.
Oh.
So she gets fed at the same time. So, you know, she likes to wander the halls when there aren't people around, and she'll be like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And then we have to be like, "Gwen, we're here." And oh, okay. So now that she's seen me and I patted her on the nose, she's fine.
I think my cat heard your cat because she's staring at me.
Oh.
I'm going to go quickly look up what the name of that movie actually was. I don't know why Eyes Wide Shut came to me, because that is absolutely not the movie I was thinking of. But I will, because if you've ever watched an Adam Sandler like comedy from like early in his career, you know, like Billy Madison or, you know, The Water Boy or Happy Gilmore, like of that genre, then he put this one out. It was completely different from those, and yet completely the same. And it was all in how the movie was produced, how you go from it being comedy to it being more like tragedy. And I felt that if there's one movie, you know, or one example to really underscore the importance of timing and the importance of how you set up a situation to make the difference between, you know, is this funny or isn't it? That movie really, I think, nails, you know, it's an interesting study. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to go find it and shut up.
Anybody else want to weigh in? I take that as a no. Okay. Illya, another point from you. Simile world. I do not understand this. What do you mean?
Well, I just wanted to bring up the fact that Aragon used a lot of similes in this thing. I mean, they seem like there's one that came up every other line. Things like where he says, feeling oddly inadequate. Like when you forget to take off your hot dog costume before your parents-in-law appear. There's a zillion of those in there. Was that good, or was there too much of that?
I don't know. I'll be honest, I hadn't noticed.
Very good. That's good, probably.
I noticed.
This might be just because I've just finished putting together a fic reading called Marble in the Mirror by JMJ. And that one is full of similes, and I found it slightly distracting how many there were, because they were good, but some of them were quite off the wall, and they were nearly every single sentence. So that would be too many similes for me. I didn't notice it being a problem in this story, though.
I didn't think it was a problem. I just noticed that there were a lot of them. Of course, that's because I had to read it 100 times and record it. So if I was just reading it once, it probably wouldn't be a big deal.
Anyone else?
I did.
Okay, Nomad first, then Vladdy.
Sorry.
I was just saying,
Okay, Vladdy has been. Nomad?
I did realize how many of these there were. They kind of took me out of the story, because you're really focusing on an action and suddenly, oh yeah, that's kind of like this very specific thing, kind of like a segue gag. And then, okay, by the way, back to the action. Yeah, there's a lot of these.
Anyone else?
I noticed it, and I rather liked it. I feel that it's hard not to be cliche when writing for me. And so I always appreciate when someone tries to turn a new simile or turn a new phrase, and it works. And even if it doesn't work, I silently applaud the attempt. And I did notice it, and maybe that's why I noticed it, because I'm always on the lookout for a good turn of phrase. So
he did use a lot of unconventional ones, that's for sure.
And I appreciated that, in that it wasn't cliche. I think some of them work better than others, but I also think that you get to play a bit more in this style of humor that he was using, that he could try some out. And I think that enhanced the humor. And perhaps maybe that's why it didn't stand out as much to Scribbler, in that because of the style of the prose and the, the fact that it was a comedy, being a bit unorthodox in the use of the similes, maybe doesn't come across as noticeable as much. Just a thought.
Okay. Anyone else?
Oh, I found the name.
No.
Oh, God.
Punch Drunk Love.
Oh, isn't that the one where it's... No, that's 50 First Dates. Never mind.
That was a
That whole
That's
conversation
very
about
different
itself,
from Eyes Wide Closed.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it was just the 3-word title thing that got stuck in my head, and I obviously picked the wrong one. Punch Drunk Love. It's a 2002 American absurdist romantic comedy, but it doesn't come like when you look at the previews for it, the trailers for it are cut so that it comes off funny. But when you watch the movie, it's very much got very different timing. And to me, it comes across that he's just a very sad and pitiable character. So that's, I put that out there for people to watch. If you're familiar with Adam Sandler's early work, this kind of came out not long after some of that other early work. So you were expecting sort of more of the same, with Happy Gilmore. It's got Philip Seymour Hoffman, who actually plays a mirror character. And I think this was before Hoffman was really well known as a great actor. But I think it's a fascinating study in how, if you recut something, if you remix, if you change the soundtrack, if you change the timing just a little bit, it completely changes how a scene comes off or how a movie comes off. So
I see why they use Sandler then, because his comedy always has a little bit of a serious edge to it. Even when he's playing ridiculous things, there's always something real and something serious under it.
I think you're the first person I've ever heard say that. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm not sure if I agree with you, but you're the very first person I've ever heard say that. So could you maybe explain that a little bit more?
I could, if I could remember the plots of the stories. I just remember every time I watch an Adam Sandler comedy, I feel like there is a tragic nature to him that comes through in the comedy. I haven't seen an Adam Sandler movie in over 10 years, so it's hard to bring anything up, and I've never seen one more than once.
Can I assist you there, Illya?
Go ahead.
I think I get what you mean, because 50 First Dates, that's a whole sad thing, because even though he's a flirt, he genuinely falls in love with a girl for once, but she forgets him every day because of her mental health condition of forgetting every time she sleeps. So he's trying to win her over, and it feels like a Sisyphus situation where he keeps trying to win her over every day and find that, and even she starts to feel bad after learning what's going on. It's like, hey, this can't really work because I'm just gonna forget you each time, but he still really loves her and stuff, and that they have it figured out by the end and stuff. But yeah, I get what you mean about there being a sadder, darker undertone.
Yeah,
And I think maybe because comedy is often used to cut tension, when there's drama and to ease drama and stuff. So we gotta have a little something to cut in order to have some good comedy. Well, if you could call those movies good. But
he never comes across as a total buffoon. Even in this Waterboy thing, he had love for his mother and everything. It was like he was trying to be a good boy, You're just kind of idiot. So, yeah.
I think actually the Roger Ebert review of Punch Drunk Love actually says better what I was trying to say about it. But they basically viewed Punch Drunk Love as a criticism of other movies in Sandler's genre, where he plays sort of this angry, sad, desperate, love-starved, childlike individual. But it's, it plays very differently, but it's still the same character. And you get to see the tragedy of it here. And if you look back at his other films where he plays a very similar character, like The Waterboy or Billy Madison or whichever one you want to look at, Happy Gilmore, they are tragic characters. When you take away not that there's a laugh track, but when you take away the timing and some of the silliness, if you see a person behave that way in real life, you wouldn't think it was funny. You'd be like, good God, like what's wrong with this person? And that's it. There is a tragedy to it. So that's why I said, when you said that Adam Sandler always comes across a bit tragic, I was like, huh, well, Illya, I think I may agree with you. I don't think I've ever heard anyone else actually say that, especially without seeing this particular movie. So anyway, I don't mean to dominate any conversation. I'm going to shut up.
If everybody's okay, shall we move on? It's
Okay.
two more points. The undying punchline. Illya, do you want to explain this one? I suspect it's the teacup line, but...
Say that again, the what?
The undying
punchline you've said. And I suspect it might be the teacup line. That's not my cup of tea.
No, that's interesting. That is an interesting thing that I do enjoy, and it's sort of kind of like it, but it's not really what I mean. This is something I've always found funny in comedy, and there's not enough of it, I think, probably. The specific instance that I'd want to bring up in that would be when they face Celestia in the tunnels, and Daring Do jumps at her and he hits the glass wall, and he goes, ow, ow, and he's leaning on in pain. And then they'll say a few things and they'll come back to him, and it's still a joke about him hurting. And then, they'll say a few more things, and he's saying, I'm laying here trying not to die. They just keep coming back to the fact that he got hit in the nose. And it's this type of thing that happens in comedy sometimes. It's very rich, and I absolutely love it. And you can only carry it so long, and then you have to stop. But I don't really know how to describe this. There was a television show made about 30 or 40 years ago, which was a live human version of Archie, the Archie comics. And there was this.
Oh, yeah, Riverdale.
No, I think before that he's referring to.
This was at least 30 years ago. I don't know what you're talking about. What's Riverdale?
It was a live-action adaptation of Archie comics.
When?
From about 10 years ago.
It was on Netflix.
A lot further back than that. And they had this thing where they were supposed to go to a concert, and somebody lost the ticket. And they kept coming back to that line that somebody would say something, and about 5 minutes later, somebody would say, well, if we had the tickets, and they just kept bringing it back. And it was like funny because it kept coming back. They wouldn't let you go. They wouldn't let that piece of comedy go. Like they wouldn't let the comedy go when Daring Do got hit on the nose, and they tried to talk about other things, and Daring Do would keep bringing it back to her hurt nose. I just think that's a fun thing to do, but I don't see enough of it in comedy. I don't know if anyone else ever saw that or noticed it.
I liked it. It was funny.
Clever.
I feel like the greatest distillation of this idea was in Family Guy with Peter, and he'd got his shin hit.
Oh, there.
Yep. Yep.
I'll admit,
Because
I know that joke, and I don't watch Family Guy.
Yeah, because
Tell me about it.
It starts off, well, it's literally, that's it. And he just sits there, and it's funny for a little bit, and then it's really not funny. Like, okay, knock it off. And then somehow, by him continuing, it gets funny again.
That's what I'm talking about. That exact thing.
That's what I said. It's a
love
distillation of it. And I'll find the clip for you, Illya, and I'll post it in the
I got
chat.
you covered.
Oh, okay, there you go. Someone's already doing it. But that, when you said that, I'm like, he's talking about this idea that, and I think this fic does that a few different times in a few different ways. Like, I think the most ingenious version of that is the teacup, where for those that haven't read it or haven't listened to it, Celestia keeps trying to use this one-liner, that's not my cup of tea, and it doesn't work.
It's funny, yeah, it is funny.
And the fact that it doesn't work is why it's funny initially, but then at the end, it finally does work.
Yeah, that's the great. It's almost a punchline to the whole fic.
Right.
Yes. Really,
Oh, most certainly.
And it works really well, like better than, because you'd think not my cup of tea actually is probably one of the wimpiest comebacks for like a tyrant to like have, but it almost feels like if there was like one prompt that like generated this entire fic, it was that moment, to build a fic around that moment.
And that's the sort of
thing
Aragon can do.
And it's a brilliant moment. And the fact that it gets alluded to and you don't expect it exactly the way it happens, at least I didn't, and how it ends up playing out. So I think that that's a great example of even playing with this idea of, coming back to the same joke, but then at the end, it's not the same. And it makes it deeper.
They did the same thing with Luna's tying up, being tied up. That was
they keep bringing back to like, like basically it's like you're being trussed up like you're in some kind of,
and even Celestia gets on the gag. It's really fun.
Yeah, like you're in some kind of R or X-rated kind of story, but they keep it very PG, but just kind of alluding without actually saying. But they keep bringing it back. They keep bringing it back. You almost think that she kind of likes being trussed up like that. Almost.
Okay. Shall we move on to the last point?
Yes, before we start talking about Luna being trussed like that too much.
We've already talked about OnlyFans, so it works. My comedy's wasted on you people. Right, the Minotaurs in general as plot elements and specifically in the power dynamics. Illya.
Okay, at first I kind of thought that the Minotaurs were thrown in and they were sort of wedged in awkwardly. They didn't feel like they fit. But there were a couple of reasons for it. At the end, they brought it up that, Celestia needed them there to, reroute the sewers or whatever it was. But I wasn't sure that they fit really well as plot elements. But there was one way that I enjoyed them. In the beginning, it was quite obvious, or all through the thing, it was quite obvious that Sugar Song and Daring Do were pretty much way overmatched by Celestia and Luna. They had her all tied up and stuck with a stake in her heart or whatever, and she said, I could probably do this in 2 seconds. It was quite obvious that there was a big power imbalance between Sugar Song, Daring Do, and Celestia and Luna. But when the Minotaurs showed up, that kind of shifted. They were pretty powerful. It took a little bit of power to beat them down. So I was a little bit vindicated by that. I wonder what anyone thought about the Minotaurs just being there in general.
I think that they were really funny, but I'm not sure how much of that was due to Emerald Comet's performance.
That was good.
It was.
It's just him going, "Pah!" all the time just made me laugh.
I thought there was a second reason why they were there, because they were also tyrants, and so the point was that Celestia needed to prove that she was a tyrant, so that there was a political alliance, not alliance, but
I think it was that
understanding.
they were going to invade or do something, and she was like, no, look, like, what I've taken out heroes, so I'm perfectly fine for you to fuck off and leave alone.
You think they were a red herring?
I think
Not
that they
red
were part of her plan to kill many birds with one stone.
Do you think they were supposed to fool us into thinking they were the people behind the plot, or not?
I don't know, because I already knew this story from years ago. I don't remember whether or not I believed it was the Minotaurs the first time around, and the second time I listened to it, I knew it was the cows. So, yeah.
I have to say that I was a bit surprised at the cows, but as soon as it was the cows, I'm like, and we've come full circle. And it made immediate sense to me that it would be the cows. And again, that's when it stopped being crackfic and it started being like a very logical kind of, it made sense. There was a lot of sense making, and I appreciate that. I do appreciate sense making. I loved the Minotaurs. I loved all the interactions with them, because how the characters reacted to them was just as good as how the Minotaurs behaved themselves. Like, you get that moment where Luna is putting up the Minotaur baby after he's like swatted a few things, and now he's going to swat and then they stop him from swatting the baby. And that, beautiful. You know, she picks up the baby, I could just gobble you up. Beautiful.
Babies are so useful.
Yes, beautiful. All of it was just beautiful. And that was only allowed because they're there, right? And that extreme strength distinction that doesn't appear to be magic powered, or at the very least, T-Rex horn is completely useless against, because he just smacks it out of her hand and poof, it dusts. It's like good, because I think Daring Do is way out of her league, and she has been this entire time. She just hasn't seemed to realize it. And that, I kind of liked her finally having to have a lot of difficulty dealing with the situation. Sort of like when Batman finally, he's not given any prep time. He gets his butt handed to him. It's like, finally, like, I love Batman. I think he's awesome, but the plot armor on him is it gets tiring at times. So it's nice to see the plot armor removed every now and then.
So what I'm hearing here is that you wanted to see a pony get snapped over Bane's knee.
I mean,
like Twilight did to Chrysalis.
Yes,
maybe.
And now Woe's come full circle.
Come circle.
Okay, no.
Clever.
Really?
Clever, no.
That's beneath even me.
And me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nobody is beneath the Underminer.
Right, does anybody want to contribute to that anymore?
I just want to mention that in the opening scene, it does mention the letter from the Minotaurs that was suggesting that there could be war at any second, depending on how Celestia responded.
And so
that was already a variable in it. So it wasn't so much like just thrown in. That was part of like why she was doing all this, and the main reason she did like the evil approach, and knowing she was getting poisoned was like, well, someone already thinks my subjects thinks I'm evil, so I might as well play that up. So it makes sense.
It was set dressing that turned out to be actually a Chekhov's gun.
Mm-hmm. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah. I found that, like I said, I experienced this fic years ago, and then re-listened to it, and the only thing I really remembered was the fact that it was the cows. But I think that knowing the ending actually made it more re-listenable. So many things destroy their own, I don't even know what to call it, rewatchability, relivability, re-experienceability. Either way, they ruin it. But this one didn't. And on that note, I think we should stop. I think it's time for us to spin the wheel and then give our final thoughts. And that's not only just because I've seen on my phone that my takeaway is 1 minute away and I will have to go in a second and just answer the door to get it.
Yay, food!
Yeah, I haven't done the supermarket shopping. That is tomorrow's issue.
That's tomorrow you's problem.
Well, there's an Aldi near my school, so I need to go there because I can afford to shop there. But for tonight, the local pizzeria.
Yay, pizza!
Apparently the last time I used Wheel of Names, there was only NP, Clever, Illya, and me on it, so...
Oh.
Right, if memory serves, the last time we all met up was Nomad's pick. So that takes you out of the running, but that's everybody else's up. So I'll just add these in.
Huzzah! Oh, crap.
My thoughts
just adding in.
exactly.
Vladdy just sitting there going, if it doesn't fucking land on me and one of you hasn't picked a fucking pick.
I'll be good. For now.
Are you ever? Penis maiden there?
The penis maiden?
Penis maiden.
Is that my description name this time? Penis maiden?
You know what? It's going to have to be.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
I figured.
Is that going to be on the description now?
It's going to have to be.
Oh my.
Right, here we go. So, Clever, Midnight, Scribbler, Vladdy. They're the ones available. Spin the wheel. Spin, 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 spin. It's frozen.
Of course.
Who the fuck is frozen?
Give me a second. I've just got to reset the page. Spin, 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 spin. Oh, Vladdy, it is you.
Huzzah!
I'm sorry for it to not be me.
So, Vladdy, what story are we reviewing next time?
The Star in Yellow by Blue Shift.
Oh, aka the fic that Scribbler has been meaning to read for basically years.
Ooh.
I have a weird love-hate relationship with this, and I need second opinions.
Okay.
Oh, you'll get second opinions.
Very well, we'll do it.
So, oh god, my voice went then. 1 second. So, next time we will be reviewing... Fuck, what was it called, Vladdy?
The Star in Yellow.
Next time we will be reviewing The Star in Yellow by Blue Shift. My pizza just
Yay!
arrived. 1 second, somebody's just knocked the door.
Pizza time!
Pizza!
Food!
Huzzah! Oh, what are people's opinion on pineapple on pizza in this chat?
Well, I have no problem with it, but I don't like pineapple, so
It's all right with me. I don't love it or anything.
I don't like it, but I'm not going to get on anyone about it. Jesus Christ.
And I
Okay.
don't have a problem with it.
Are we doing final thoughts or not?
We're waiting for her to get her pizza.
I think we skipped that.
I got you.
But you're right. I think we did skip it by accident because she was
And
wanting
we
to
need
stop.
to know what type of pizza this is.
It's what I was wondering.
That's the
like-
real question.
That's the real question: is what kind of pizza does Scribbler order? People want to know.
marshmallow pizza?
Inquiring minds want to know. I suspect that it might be chicken,
Kitten.
Ooh.
not kitten. Kitten friendly, maybe, but chicken.
Barbecue.
Chrysalis would have a kitten pizza.
Oh, but who would make it for her?
Herself or
T-Rex?
her subjects.
I could see T-Rex Pizzeria.
Oh my goodness. Just him in too small an apron.
T-Rex Pizzeria.
You don't like it? Too bad.
Bippity boppity boo.
Poof.
That's the jingle. Bippity boppity boop.
Poof. I myself rather like pineapple on pizza. I'm just putting it out
Okay.
there. I didn't understand people's abhorrence with it and why they reacted so badly until I saw a picture of kiwi on pizza. And then I was like, this must be how people feel when they see pineapple on and they react so viscerally, because I had a visceral reaction to seeing kiwi on a pizza. So I was like, that doesn't belong.
I
But
think
Try
if you have pineapple, you need ham with pineapple.
Go ahead.
Try spaghetti on pizza.
What the fuck?
That's a
did I
struggle
roll back
meal
in
right
on?
there. Well,
That's-
guessing what
Welcome
pizza you
back.
got.
It's a German thing, spaghetti on pizza.
I can't say much. The Brits have got the chips. It's just
I was
carbs
gonna-
on carbs. It's the
I was
equivalent.
going to say carbs. How many carbs can you get? We all want to know, Scribbler, what kind of pizza did you get?
I got a half and half. One half is Chinese chicken and one half is barbecue.
What is
You were
Chinese
right,
Whoa.
it's
chicken?
chicken.
Hey!
Clever called it.
What?
Well, someone
What
else
is
called
Chinese
barbecue.
chicken?
Called barbecue.
Oh, nice.
This is the part where Scribbler admits that when she has barbecue pizza, she adds pineapple to it.
Yes!
There we go. Oh, you're gonna love it when you hear this back, Scribbler. Oh my god.
For fuck's sake. Oh god, am I being
High
insulted while I'm not
five.
even
Right.
around?
A comedy.
Virtual high
Validation.
five.
What?
The
I like
undying
sweet things.
punchline.
I like sweet things. That's why I date narrator pony.
Oh, we love you, Scribbler.
Aww.
But what's
The fact that
Chinese
you
chicken?
just said that, Vladdy, makes me really worried what I'm going to hear back.
But the real question is, what is Chinese chicken specifically?
Hang on, I'll show you. Not in a picture of the
Okay.
pizza because I'm not going to open it yet, but I will show you Chinese chicken.
Okay.
I'll show you Chinese chicken.
Oh, my cat heard Chinese chicken and she's very interested.
Here we go. Chinese chicken.
Oh,
Ooh, fancy.
that
It's
looks.
It looks tandoori or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks like tandoori.
it might be close to. It's just called pink Chinese chicken, and it's char siu, I think.
That's like the
Oh.
way they do their pork, like that.
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh.
say pork char siu is like barbecue pork. So this is the chicken equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
think
that would be delicious because I
Yeah,
love
it looks
Chinese
great.
barbecue.
That looks
pork.
yummy.
Mhm.
Well, I've got that on half a pizza.
I clever approves.
So glad I have your approval.
You don't have to, but you got it.
Right. Okay. Final thoughts, because we've done the spinning of the wheel before the final thoughts, because I forgot to write final thoughts on the doc and got distracted
We
by
talked
pizza.
about that too.
Oh my god. I'm doing the best I can, guys. It's 9:15 on a Sunday.
And we love you.
We do.
Okay, final thoughts then. Clever.
Oh, right. Penis. I think that
Oh, I'm flattered
Channeling
here.
Vladdy there.
You can't take my stick.
I can take any
I
stick.
mean, technically, he didn't take your shtick. He took your dick.
Oh,
I didn't even have one of those.
No, because Clever took it.
God damn it.
there's some
Boy,
backstory.
if it wasn't for you.
Okay, Clever. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I enjoyed the fic, folks. If you're gonna take this particular fic in, I highly recommend the reading on Illya's channel. I don't think that there is a better way to experience it, and it is funny. So that's what I have to say about the fic. Bye, final.
Illya? Illya?
I think Aragon has a delicious sense of comedic timing. It made the story wonderful for me, and it was also just the right length. It was long enough to engage you, but short enough you can get tired of it.
We're talking
I
about
really-
the fic, right? Yeah. Okay,
Well,
keep going.
sometimes, yeah. But yeah, I think, and as I said, it was my favorite reading that I've done, so I really enjoyed it in a lot of ways.
Midnight?
It's fun. it's a laugh, and it's
What the fuck?
It's what the fuck. Yes. So, read it, listen, you'll have some fun.
Nomad?
Everybody's saying it. It's really fun. The reading on Illya's channel is absolutely perfect, and it's a pleasant time.
Vladdy?
Quite funny, very much in the spirit of the comics. It's very good. I liked it. And remember, cows are second-class citizens.
Don't forget.
Damn right.
Never forget.
And my thoughts are, ha 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 ha, I'm in agony. And thus it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Vladdy.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Nomad.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye from Midnight.
Keep watching that moon, everyone.
Goodbye from Illya.
And good night, everyone.
And good night from Clever Hooves.
Good night.
Bye.
Back in your corral.
Bye.
And with that, we're done. Exactly 2.5 hours.
I have to go. I've got some things to
Oy
take care
vey.
of this evening. So.
Oh,
Wow,
Yeah.
that was a long one. And yeah, I need to go get ready for work or
Yeah, because for
work
you it's
tomorrow.
like, are you an hour ahead of me still?
Yep, 10 o'clock.
Right, so it's 20 past 10 at night for you, so you need to go.
Yeah.
Oy
And
vey.
I have pizza.
well, go enjoy that pizza.
I will
So
go
it was
enjoy pizza
fun.
and plan lessons for tomorrow.
I enjoyed it. Good night, everybody.
It's
and
been
we'll
really
see y'all
lovely.
around.
Also, before we go, do you know that I was literally just changing things on the in the Discord? Do you know that we last got together like this on the last day of July last year?
What?
Oh my
That
god.
was
It took us
I
a
know it's
while
been
to
a
get
long
together
time,
for this.
sure.
So we need to not leave it that long next time.
No wonder I was so
Agreed.
lonely.
Yeah.
I shall try and poke people.
Yes. So let's think like a month for the next one. So like, would a month be okay for everybody?
Yes,
Like,
please.
in a
month's
You're
time,
my therapy.
Should be, yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
by me.
So
This
in a
is-
month's time, we'll aim for and take it as it comes.
This is like my
Yay.
therapy, so, yeah, it would be better to have it more often.
It's better than ChatGPT being your therapy because that tells you to kill people.
Oh yeah, that's fucked up.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
never
Well,
trust a
that's true,
machine.
but-
We just decide to kill ponies.
Aha.
Oh,
Kittens.
God. Alrighty.
All right. And
See you later.
Scribbler's will to live. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.